Warm welcome, everybody, to this live studio talk show here at World Water Week. Welcome to everybody that's joining us here live in the room. I'm delighted to see so many people here. And also a heartfelt welcome to everyone joining us online. My name is Soledad Pinheiro Misa, and I have the honor to facilitate several live studios talk shows during this World Water Week. And now I'm really excited to have these conversations with this eminent panel that I will introduce shortly. But now we're going to focus on the role of corporate philanthropy in achieving SDG 6. And we have a great panel here with me. We have you, Sam Stevens, you're Executive Director of AB InBev Foundation. And at any time, you can correct me if I pronounce something wrong. Thank you.
We know you got it.
Okay, good. We have Isabel Dimitrov. You're Senior Manager of Corporate Responsibility of Cargill. And we have you, Megan Galvin, your Director of Sustainability at Starbucks. Warm welcome, all of you. And we're going to dig in. How can both corporate philanthropy, but also, I guess, the corporations behind these foundations helping achieve SDG 6? And also, like, how do we make sure that it's action that really drives transformation and not only marketing or well-packaged thing, how we could actually lead to change? And to start us off, I would love to hear from you, Sam, both for us to introduce shortly about the foundation, why the mother company behind it decided to found this foundation. And you were also the ones that took the initiative for this dialogue. And how come you wanted to have this dialogue around SDG 6? Please.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Soledad, and thank you so much, Megan and Isabel, for joining me on stage today. So excited to be here and have this conversation. I think I'm very excited about this week, the theme around innovation. And to me, corporate philanthropy, corporate ESG, we really have an opportunity to make a difference here. So at AB InBev Foundation, we were founded to serve as a catalyst for innovative solutions to neglected issues within the Sustainable Development Goals. And our goal is to empower changemakers, individuals, as well as organizations, with the resources that they need to bring their creative ideas for those innovative solutions to fruition, to test them, to prove them, to scale them, to succeed. And we do that across 5 pillars of both programming as well as grant making. We have responsible alcohol consumption, which we call smart drinking. We have social entrepreneurship, water access, sustainable agriculture, and disaster response. And I'm excited to talk a little bit more about our programming as we get through the conversation today. But to your second question, why this panel? Why today? In my opinion, I think that corporate ESG, corporate philanthropy, has the opportunity, the potential, to really play a critical role in filling the gap between where we are and where we need to be to achieve SDG 6 by 2030. But it's going to take innovation. It's not going to be successful if we just continue the status quo, investing in the same things, the same organizations, the same solutions. We really need to find a new path forward. And that means, to me, maximizing the strategic advantages that both ESG as well as philanthropy have. So I think it's important for organizations to not only find ways for philanthropy and ESG to complement each other, to support each other, to avoid duplication and to fill gaps that lead to more comprehensive and sustainable solutions, but also really leverage the strategic advantages that philanthropy has within the corporate space. Because philanthropy, sorry, go ahead.
No, go. I'm just like...
Sure, no.
with questions. Because also, like, and I also, like, say many things is like, okay, but like your mother company, do you say mother? Father company, mother company. Yeah.
We won't pick sides. Yeah, our
like
parent,
mother.
our parent.
A parent,
Yeah,
okay, parent. Yeah, it sounds more inclusive. Like, how do you make sure that they actually driving transformation in a way that is sustainable and water positive, and not only maybe creates a foundation and say, oh, we do all of these beautiful things, but actually where you really make a difference and like in transforming your business in the way of, because you're dealing with a lot of water. And how do you make sure that the foundation really helps like to drive the actual transformation that the parent company can do?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. It's something we grappled with when we started this journey in the past couple of years, is how can we support the corporate ESG agenda without duplicating it, without competing against it? How can we complement it, and what makes the most sense? And to me, corporate philanthropy has two real distinct advantages that we're leveraging at AB InBev Foundation that we encourage others to follow as well. One of those advantages is corporate philanthropy can take more risks. We're not beholden to always succeeding. We have the opportunity to take some risks, to invest in solutions that aren't proven, that might be risky, that might be in challenging locations, or smaller NGOs or startup organizations. We have the luxury of investing in those types of groups that the corporate might not be able to. And the second advantage we have is being able to look at a long-term horizon. We can invest in programs that take years to prove, whereas a corporate needs shorter-term wins. And so we found that as the swim lane that we can occupy. The ESG agenda really focuses on the critical items for the corporate space, and the corporate philanthropy can support that by looking at those neglected gaps that can be most effectively filled by the philanthropic advantage.
Okay, thank you. I have more questions, of course, but let's go into the rest of it. Maybe if you go over to you, Isabel, if you also introduce us shortly to Cargill, what kind of company is it? What work do you do? And for me, when I was reading about it, also you talk all the time about the importance of being water positive. How are you being water positive?
Yeah, well, thanks for the question, Soledad. So, I mean, Cargill is a really large company, sometimes quite complex, so hard to summarize in a couple of minutes. But really, we're a supplier of food, agricultural and industrial products around the world. And as a result, I think we're really sort of a connector within the food system. You know, on one end, we're working with farmers every day. On the other end, supplying to our customers. So as a result, we really feel like we can play an important role in providing holistic solutions and at scale. And that's also really, I think, evident in our water work. And so how we're looking at it is across, you know, our operations, so where we have a footprint, implementing water stewardship programs across all of our key facilities, as well as our supply chain. Obviously, we have a really important role to play there, given our footprint. So we have targets around reducing billions of liters, restoring billions of liters of water, as well as reducing pollutants in water-stressed regions. And then the third, and the area that I'm the most active in, is actually around communities. So really going outside the four walls of Cargill and where we're operating or sourcing from, making sure that we're responding to the needs of those communities. And we have a specific target around water access, sanitation, and hygiene there.
And what is that? Also, because when reading I mean, it's the same for all the companies. It's like we have these goals to 2030 that sound like really good. But when we see the results right now, we really need to accelerate a lot to get there. Yeah. How is it with your results, and how close are you to your ambition?
Yeah. I think we're definitely making a lot of progress, but one thing we've realized since we set up the strategy and put these commitments forward is that, you know, I think like all of us would probably relate, we can't do it alone, and it's exactly why moments like this, being able to connect with other partners, are so important. You know, we work with a number of different partners, but in particular, Global Water Challenge, who you'll also be hearing from today, has been an important partner for us in terms of identifying additional partners within the ecosystem that can support in delivering the work that needs to be done. And we also try to empower our employees as well every day, so not just those that are working day to day on this work, but really our 150,000 employees around the world, making sure that they're aware of those strategies, and as they go out in their communities, how can they make sure that they bring that forward and identify needs and opportunities where we can support as Cargill. So I think being able to bring all of those together is also how we're trying to accelerate progress. But
yeah, I hear you. And we're going to come back to and to dive a little bit deeper just to SDG 6, but just also to give, I think many of us know, I mean, Starbucks, it's more easy to recognize because, but, and also for me, like when I was reading about it, it's like you've done a really ambitious work to setting, like how you're working with sustainability now, and also being science-based and put in really good targets, and you're improving a lot. But for many of us, it's like how, like for me, it's like Starbucks and water sustainability, how does it link together? Because it's like, and how are you making sure, like linking it to the question that I asked to Sam, is how are you making sure that you're really creating change where it's, where it makes a difference? How would you also take us through how you're working with your ambitions now, but also what do you see are the challenges and possibilities?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I resonate so much with what the two of you have said, and to your question of where do we have ambitious places that we need to be, and where are we now? And I would say that we all experience, most of us experience Starbucks in the store. But as we all know who are focused on water, 70% of the fresh water usage across the globe is in agriculture, right? It's so that when you're thinking about Starbucks, really the places that we're using water are in key commodities like dairy and like coffee that are core to our business. And both our farmers also need that fresh water in order to be able to run the business, and we need that fresh water as communities. So we're working with the Nature Conservancy on a dairy water stewardship program, reaching critical volume on farms that we source from across the U.S., learning from that and being able to expand it globally. We're also doing things like deploying ecological wet mills in our coffee processing and farms across the globe. All of that is really critical, and that's about how we conserve what we take out of the earth. But we're also partnering on water replenishment projects, so thinking about how we restore and refresh aquifers and communities across the globe, and doing that in collective action and partnership with Global Water Challenge, with WWF and others. So it is, I'd say in some ways it's early stages, and in some ways all of this work that we're doing is laddering into pretty rapid scale in the next few years.
Yeah. But do you feel that you get, it's a question kind of to all of you working more specializing in sustainability, do you feel that you get the support and from the corporate overall? Because it's like when we're experts in these issues, we're aware of the urgency and how things are really going. So, and also we see all the warnings, like how things are going. Do you feel that you're actually working, that it's like enough prioritized issues, and that you get the support and the resources needed?
I can jump in on that.
Yeah.
Please.
I think it's a really important question because it has to be a mandate. It has to be something that an entire company, right, in these cases, hundreds of thousands of people are aligned against in some way. I can speak with a huge degree of confidence that we do get an absolute ton of support from every level. Both our executive leadership holds us accountable, but we have baristas, shift supervisors, and store managers across the globe that hold us accountable as well, and take a lot of priority and passion into what they can do in stores and in their communities. So absolutely.
Sam, what is the situation in BEEP?
Yeah, good question. I think similarly. I think it's certainly a corporate priority, and the foundation, we're structured somewhat uniquely in that the foundation is an independent organization that sits next to the corporate, but our partners at the corporate certainly back that agenda very, very strongly. It's core to the business, and we consider them our key allies and partners in our work around the world. But I know the customer base is very strongly advocating for that type of work as well. And for us, we always want more money, right? I think we all know that more money is necessary to achieve SDG 6, to invest in different solutions, to scale what already works, to find those neglected areas that need additional funding. But it also requires that additional way of working, tapping into the strengths that corporate philanthropy and ASG can really leverage when they combine and collaborate, but then also finding partners. I think, for us, we maximize every dollar that we have, but then we also look to partners that come to the table in events like this to figure out where are the strengths that everyone has that we can tap into, because we're all only able to do so much.
Yeah.
And so we can define, here's what we're really good at, here are the strengths that we have, and you know what, let's be transparently collaborative. Let's find others that can support that we can support, that we can share learnings with and learn from. And so I think it requires that really key collaborative spirit as well.
Yes. I'm like, yes. And also to also get more kind of concrete, and also give concrete examples and even numbers, and also tie it back to to what we were focusing on today, like global philanthropy and SDG 6. And you were also mentioning like how can of those areas that maybe are not being prioritized, so the people also and the issues they need it the most. How do you localize, like how do you find out, like how are you working concretely with that? And can you give concrete examples of actions that you've been taking and results that it has led to? That also are in alignment of reaching SDG 6. So not only talking about the collaborations needed, but like what do they lead to?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question, and I want to save time for others to jump in on this one as well. But, for us, I think we're very key on having a global audience that we can reach out to. So our partners at the corporate, really leaning on them. What are you seeing in the space? Where are the needs? What's working? What's not? Partners, we have at the foundation staff, board members, and then we also have a panel of external advisors who are experts in the space, in the water space as well, that we can lean on and say, okay, in your expertise, what are you seeing from your research?
But if we get into because now again, it's like if I was a kid, you're like talking about how you're organizing things, but if we get like to what are you actually doing and the results and like concrete projects and how they're leading to achieve SDG 6.
Absolutely. Well, so in my final point there is that we also tap into a broad network of an audience like what we have here, working with academic institutions, with multilateral institutions, with other corporates that we can learn from and listen to figure out where the greatest needs are, because we can't necessarily always identify that. And one example that we're very proud of is through these types of conversations, we identified a small community in rural Bolivia that lacked access to water, very dry community that other NGOs had tried to work in, and it just didn't work. And we also had a very sustainable, but very innovative and very new and very untested potential project that actually converted human waste into drinking water. And so we invested in this unproven, very risky model to take human waste from the schools, from the community that was just flowing down the streets, to capture all of that in a very green way, convert it into sustainable water for agriculture and for potable use. And that was a collaborative effort with the local community, with the government, with our partners at AB InBev Corporate, with the 100+ Accelerator and others. And the result today is that community now is healthier because the sewage isn't flowing down the streets, and they have access to clean water for agriculture and for drinking as well.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I feel like always kind of impolite when I'm like trying to get you to the point, but it's just that we only have 20 minutes and I just want to extract the, but also like going over to you, Megan, Starbucks has set ambitious goal when it comes to WASH initiative, especially focusing on girls and women and communities that really need it. Can you tell us about the work and also like focusing on the results that it's led to?
Yeah, well, one thing that I'd love to share, and I think kind of a specific project that we're really excited about, because it's a different way of working and it is a different way of deploying our resources, is in March, along with the UN Water Resilience Coalition, Water Equity, and a number of other companies, Reckitt, and others, we launched $150 million fund. So we know that in order to address SDG 6, there is a massive funding gap, right? And that there's so much that we can do to be able to deploy capital. And so we're the anchor investor, investing up to $25 million that's going to unlock microfinance loans and capital throughout communities, like Sam was speaking to, that need it. And so it's a way for us to really take a resource that we have in our balance sheet capital and to be able to invest it directly to communities, especially women and girls who need it. And so being able to unlock water access, which means that we're reducing commute times and being able to make sure that women and girls get access to the education and that they need, or other economic empowerment opportunities. So it's a specific example.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so will you get the opportunity also to exemplify how you're working with your SDG, but also like your business strategy, and how do you integrate WASH or like SDG 6 in your operations, and that how you make sure that what you're doing actually leads to accomplishing SDG 6?
Yeah, so absolutely. I think, and also drawing on the earlier question you asked about how, responsive the company is to supporting this work. I mean, Our water lead at Cargill said it really well. Water is a soundtrack to people's lives. Everyone has some sort of experience with water, a unique relationship, unique challenges to it. And I think what we're trying to do is always focus on that and illustrate, the different challenges and perspectives. Everyone has a connection to water in some way, shape, or form. And in particular with SDG 6, it is very tangible. But one thing that we've been trying to do to get even more traction and more uptake is to really see, SDG 6 unlocks so many other things, as you said, around women's empowerment, sustainable agriculture, and we're really trying to make sure that we capture the impact that engaging in accelerating progress on SDG 6 has around some of these other priority areas. I think that's been really important. And so for some of the projects that we're doing, for example, with Global Water Challenge and with CARE, that focus on also women's empowerment around WASH, as well as sustainable agriculture practices, financial inclusion, literacy, linking back to some of our Village Savings and Loans Associations programs. So we look at the savings, investments, governance as well in those communities so that they feel empowered to take those investments forward, is all an important part of how we assess what projects to engage with, because we do feel like that will be able to maximize the impact that we can have and bring together more partners. So.
Okay. Thank you so much, and thank you to all of you. It feels like we're just getting started with the discussion, but thank you for sharing so much knowledge, but also examples on how you're working with achieving SDG 6. So thank you so much for everybody that joined us online.
Amazing. Thank you so much.